Welcome back. We're digging into the money being used to make sure seniors don't go hungry. With the end of the COVID pandemic emergency, also came the end of surplus federal funding flowing into states. In West Virginia, senior centers are looking at budget shortfalls to cover their nutrition programs. Today, Kenny Bass takes a look at the numbers and how the centers themselves may be able to navigate this crisis.
West Virginia's senior centers serve meals to any resident 60 years and older who wants one. Before COVID, the state was averaging about 2 million meals a year. But then the pandemic hit. And with federal CARES Act money flowing into the system, the number of served meals increased by 50% to 3 million annually.
When you get older, you're on a fixed income. So, you know, money only goes so far now. And with the price of food, people can go hungry.
I'm independent, and I'm a bachelor. And sometimes men don't cook like women and have the authority to know what they want to cook and what's good for them. But coming here, I've learned how to cut back on my eating. I learned to eat healthy. I done gained a lot of benefits from being here.
When you get elderly, you don't cook anymore, so it's nice to have a real nice meal every day.
However, the pandemic emergency has been declared over, and the extra federal money is now gone. That leaves the state's senior organizations looking at cutting budgets and meals, making reductions elsewhere to keep the food flowing, or to get more money from the state to maintain its now pandemic-inflated new number of clients. The Cabell County Community Services Organization is one of the state's senior services nonprofits, which has reached out for help. Its executive director has cited the March 24th memo from former West Virginia Bureau of Senior Services Commissioner Robert Roswell, who stated in part that another $5 million would be needed to keep meal services at the current level. But Roswell also said, quote, that funding for meals for seniors will continue at the current level, and be assured that there are many available resources and we will not permit seniors to go without food, end quote. But that memo was written nearly 2 months before the announcement that the CARES Act money was going away.
We don't want anybody to go hungry. We don't want any senior to not have any of the services that they need. So I think the intent behind that was to let them know we will figure it out. We will work together. We will figure out a way to make this happen.
Worley says West Virginia commits around $10.6 million a year annually to senior nutrition programs. Federal funding accounts for another $5.6 million. During COVID, CARES Act money put another $6 million into the effort. That's the amount that has now been taken away.
The growth has dramatically increased. There has just been so many more meals that have been served at the congregate level now that they're back open, at the grab and go, and then also for the home delivery. They're servicing a significant number of people.
The Cabell County Community Services Organization sent a letter to Governor Justice. CCCSO Executive Director Charles Holly said in part, his group feeds 400 seniors countywide. Holly said, quote, without funding, all 400 seniors are at risk of being dropped from the nutrition program until we receive a new allocation of funds on October 1, end quote. Holly continued, quote, without funding from somewhere, literally thousands of seniors statewide could be faced with losing nutrition services, end quote. Holly estimated that with an original budget of $553,000 to feed those 400 seniors annually, the loss of the extra federal CARES Act money means CCCSO will fall about $181,000 short by the September 30th end of the fiscal year. However, there may be other options beyond the state adding to its $10.5 million chunk. Eyewitness News has obtained financial information from county aging providers statewide. The figures come from the organization's Internal Revenue Service 990 forms and can be found on the IRS and ProPublica websites. The forms from 2020 show 57 different state nonprofit groups serving seniors have a combined $29.9 million in savings accounts. Additionally, they have $22 million listed in cash, $7.1 million in grants, and $9.5 million in accounts receivable. We asked to talk with CCCSO Executive Director Charles Holly and Kanawha Valley Senior Services CEO Vicki Foster about nutrition funding, but both said Their respective boards of directors wanted to hear from the state's Bureau of Senior Services and the governor before saying anything. Those 2020 IRS records indicate CCCSO had $700,000 in savings and $211,000 in cash, grants, and accounts receivable. KVSS's totals are from its 2022 financial statements, which show net assets without donor restrictions at $4 million. His new commissioner says she wants to work with the nonprofits to find a mutually agreeable solution to the funding shortfall.
Those that are struggling, we've encouraged them to reach out to us here at the Bureau and let us talk about things, go through things, help to gain an understanding of their operations, what their needs are, how they may need to deploy the resources that they have. The senior centers do really great things. There's a lot of really good things that are happening out there, and the Bureau, as well as the governor's office, is very supportive of the nutrition programs. We want what's best for the seniors, and we want to work with those centers as individualized entities to help them figure out how to navigate through their challenges.
In Charleston, with this Eyewitness News investigation, I'm Kenny Bass.